It's too early.
It's going and it's episode 12.
Is that how
And
we're
we're all
start
silent. We're just like, we're too tired.
Early episode today, guys.
Yeah.
Well, like, oh wait, we have coffee upstairs too. So, yeah. We got to mention this on the podcast. Sorry, Daniel. So, Daniel was trying to make coffee this morning. He filled up the pot with water and just put it in. He didn't put the water into the bag.
Into the basin? Yeah.
Brian's just staring at the coffy pot.
It's like,
Is it supposed to be like that? He's
Yeah,
being
is this
polite.
new?
He's
Is
not,
it really 30?
he's not calling me dumb.
like, this is weird. Like, is this new technology? It looks like an old coffee pot.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to Into the 99, where we have 99 cardboard cutouts because Commander is placed in the first slot. I am your host, Sherman.
I'm Hope.
Daniel.
And I'm Brian.
We have
Back
Brian
again.
back again. We can't get rid of him.
You
I
know
think
what?
it's not that easy.
He just started sticking around and we decided let's put him on the podcast.
It's because we're still planning on taking that duffel bag of cards in your closet.
Yeah, one day you guys are getting to it.
We're on trip 2. We already got one.
Hey, I want that lion's eye diamond.
Oh, you and me both.
Yeah, you can. If you find it, we'll talk.
Okay, so you guys talk, and I'm just gonna do that for
Yeah, we can holler from the back and still be apart.
What card are we talking about? Yeah, that's dope. What were they talking about again? Yeah, it's totally cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not here. I found it, guys.
Along with a Black Lotus and a few boxes. Yeah.
My girlfriend just called me. We have an emergency. We have to leave.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I've got to go. I got to go right now, guys.
Are those a bunch of cards in your hand? I don't know. I've never seen these people in my life.
Yeah.
Why does your book bag look bigger?
All this knowledge.
Oh,
Get out.
Is that a stack of cards in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
Yes.
both.
All of the above.
All right, so me not knowing how to make coffee aside. Today we're doing a deck tech about kind of what we were speaking about the last episode. We're talking group slug and we're talking Brian's Mogis deck. Brian, take us away.
So, as you heard last week, Mogis is a 7/5 enchantment creature. Legendary enchantment creature, costs 4, 2 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, and it's indestructible. And as long as devotion to black and red is less than 7, Mogis is not a creature. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Mogis deals 2 damage to that player unless he or she sacrifices a creature.
Which is heckin' annoying.
Mogis, God of Laughter.
So I can easily get people for at least 10 life until they start caring.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, yeah, people, if I'm dropping a turn 1 Lana War, Birds of Paradise, something like that, I'm not going to sack it. I'll take my 2 damage, but you
Build
take,
up your board later.
Yeah,
and
like,
yeah, you
what's-
take that 2 damage a few times and then... Ooh.
All of a sudden you're at 28 life and you have to reevaluate what you're doing. But later in the game, then you can sack that bop. You can sack that Lana Works. You don't need it anymore, but...
Unless other people have already taken care of that.
True.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Brian?
Well, a deck like this is going to run a lot of board wipes. It's going to run a lot of things that are just generally killing your
destruction,
creatures.
damage.
And it is really going to drain that life resource that we constantly talk about. It's going to make it so, yeah, sure, 2 doesn't matter this turn, 2 doesn't matter next turn, but then suddenly you've taken 10, like what you're saying. Suddenly you've got, it's mana, every time you tap mana you're taking damage, and you're really hurting in this
Once
deck.
it starts actually adding up with the other additional cards that are in the deck.
Well, and
And
as
it
everyone...
adds up very quickly.
As everyone knows too, all of these, like the whole Theros block of these, they were just so hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as simple as just destroy enchantment. It's not as simple as destroy creature. Half the time he's not even a creature. You can't even path to exile him.
And every other time he's indestructible.
Yeah, most times you have to be running an exile enchantment card, which there are not many of.
Yeah.
And this is the
one?
commander.
I don't even know.
This is the Return to Dust.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Merciless Eviction.
Okay, there we go.
But that's what
But
I mean.
a 6 cost.
And even if you're doing that,
And then he's going to recast it.
yeah, that's exactly it. He still has access to the card. This is
for 6 for the second time's cast.
Yeah.
It's so cheap.
And if you have mana barbs out, like, okay, I'm going to take 6 damage and hopefully you exile it for at least 1 turn.
yeah.
It's almost not worth it.
See,
Like
that's
6
why-
costs for that, it's a lot.
That's why I love this deck, because like the moment Brian plays it and everyone gets down, it's like you literally see them having that personal debate. Like, I need to reconsider my life choices here.
No, you see the politics really start happening.
Yeah.
An early game.
Yeah. Like, hey, this is happening to all of us. What are we going to do about this?
Well, that is, when we get into the protecting yourself part, that is something you have to be able to convince the table of, that you're doing this to everyone. This isn't personal, guys.
Yeah.
And Hope, what do you have to say to that?
It's like it happens to everybody. It's
I
like,
hate
come on. So, but there's a lot of things with Mogis. Like, we've already touched on a lot of cards last time. So we're going to touch, like, since we're talking about the deck tech here.
Yeah, the specifics of the deck.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of the key cards that we didn't mention before that are great in this deck. So, and like, we're not going to mention some of the obvious things, like there's like Crypt Gas and the Magnus of the Coffers, things like that, where you're just ramping hard. One of my favorite cards in here that you have is Harsh Mentor. So Harsh Mentor is a 1 in a red, and it's a 2/2 human cleric, and whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on a battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player.
It's pretty rough, yeah.
Because, like, yeah, we have a lot of creatures where there's ETBs or they're triggered and everything, but you have a lot of creatures still that require a tap ability or something where you're paying mana for it, and
Especially commanders.
Well, yeah,
there's
my old Selesnya Angels, they ran Shylai, and that's generally how I ended up killing people, is I generated tons of mana to instant speed, put counters on things. So that doesn't really work if I have to pay 2 life every time I try and use my counters for it.
Yeah. Like, the only time I think something will counteract Harsh Mentor is they're playing with, like, Selvala, Explorer Return, because you can parlay and then gain life back. Like, okay, so there goes my 2 life from the Harsh Mentor, and I'm getting it back from 2 people flipping the top card. So that's not a big deal, but every other time...
Something like a Temple Bell is suddenly pinging you for 2 damage, and that's a big deal if you're...
just looking to draw 1 card.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the only thing, like, with this deck is I don't really have, like, lost spot removal.
Yeah.
It's like problem removal. It's usually just board wipes, things along those lines. But there's, I came across someone who played a Planeswalker that stopped all damage that was not combat damage to them.
The Wanderer.
Yeah, and I was just like, well...
Yeah, what do you do with that?
Yeah, there's not much you can do, so...
Elder Spell.
Yeah.
Elder Spell.
Elder Spell.
Guess I'm going to have to make some substitutions.
But, like, Harsh Mentor, combined with things like it's great. And then you have, like, things like Heartless Hitasugu, where it's 3 red, 4/3 for Ogre Shaman. And you tap it, and Heartless Hitasugu deals damage to each player equal to half that player's life total, rounded down.
That's nasty.
So that's a lot of damage. But, like, all these creatures are dealing damage, and you throw in something like Whip of Erebos, where, it's...
I don't have to worry about pinging myself.
Yep.
Yeah. Whip of Erebos, legendary enchantment artifact. And the key thing here is that creatures you control have lifelink. It also has another ability where it's like, 2 black, tap it, and return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, and then you exile it at the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead, yada, 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 and only do this as sorcery. I don't care. All I care about is the lifelink.
Yep.
Okay? Because, like, I guess Mogis never gets to be a creature, because everyone's always killing your stuff.
But he's still doing the damage.
Yeah, he's still doing the damage. You have Heartless Hitasugu doing the damage. Like, if everyone was at 40 life and everybody drops down to 20, you drop down to 20 as well, but then you get 80 back.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm at 100 just from one play.
From doing nothing.
From doing nothing.
From tapping a creature.
Yeah.
From tapping a creature. That's just stupid.
Honestly, I'm looking through this deck list, and there's 2 things that I think, at least I'm quickly making a suggestion for substitutions. Number 1, you simply have to go buy a Koth of the Hammer today. It's a Planeswalker, and it's going to probably give you some of the best removal you'll have in this deck. It gives your mountains the ability to tap for 1 to do 1 damage to any target.
Oh.
Its plus is also untapping 2 of your 2 mountains. It's 2 mountains or 1 mountain. I know that he's a ramp card, but in this deck specifically, people are going to run out of things to attack your planeswalkers with so fast. Like, yes, you are the arch enemy, but I think you have you have a planeswalker in the deck, and we'll get to it because it is good.
She's very pretty.
Yeah. But I think this deck would make it very difficult to deal with a lot of planeswalkers because how do you get through to it if you're sacking all your creatures? How do you deal with it when every turn everything is a sack, everything is a damage trigger, while still fending off everyone else? Because you're not the only person at the table. You might be the bad guy. But you're not alone.
Yeah. But no, cost is 2 red, and the +1 is on tap target mountain. It becomes a 4/4 red elemental creature until the end of turn. Still a land. Its -2 is add a red to your mana pool for each mountain, and then -5 is you get an emblem with mountains you control of tap. This land deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So
that's actually quite nice for the mana ramp ability.
Well, and just its ramp ability alone, but
it's valuable.
Also the fact that, like I said, it's going to give you that spot removal. If you have something like a problematic creature, then you'll just ping it for 3.
Yeah.
End step, you'll ping people for 4.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that one. And the other one's Obsidian Fireheart, because you have a ton of mana ramp in this. And I think, obviously, you need it. You have a lot of enchantments, but Obsidian Fireheart lets you pay 3 mana to put blaze counters on people's lands. And those are indefinite. They don't go when you go from the game, and they're a damage every upkeep.
Ew.
That's actually very pretty. I have to go find that now.
Obsidian Fireheart is very fun.
It's like
if
under
you
$1.
combine that with from Thornell Drain Thorbrand.
Oh.
Okay, because Thorbrand says that whenever a red source deals damage, it deals 2 extra damage. Right?
Oh my god.
What?
So that would put Mogis up to 4 damage every upkeep.
Turn. And then if you get out the doubling card that deals doubles the damage.
Furnace of Wrath.
Furnace of Wrath.
Well, and there's also the Twin God.
Dictate the Twin Gods.
Yeah.
So if I have both of those out, and so 4 damage per turn, 8 damage per turn, 16 damage per turn after all the double.
Oh yeah, this deck is definitely going to punish you for playing a lot of the things you're going to put down, and just in general, it is going to be fun. It is going to speed the game up and stuff. And sometimes you don't want a 4-hour game of Magic where everyone's
all the time
gridlocked.
4 minutes at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it. So, and then like with all the damage, like you have the Eternal in here. So whatever damage you deal on your post-combat main phase, you get that as red mana.
He's I think one of the best red ramp cards that is available.
He's fantastic.
He's so good. And for anyone trying to do anything in this deck, you're generally making them take damage. And you go into main phase 2 with 11 extra red mana available. That's a big, big deal.
And the thing is that mana, if I have mana barbs or something out,
then
you're dealing damage to me.
Yeah, you're not hurting yourself from it.
Yeah, you're not punished for it.
It's so crazy. Like, let's face it, there's so many things you can do. Like we said last episode, there's just too many cards. You know, it's like, man, why is Commander limited to 100?
Oh.
Like, I would make a card deck that's like 1,000 at this point in time.
What a good thing that it is, though, because I would run out of sleeve money so fast. I would Battle of Wits every deck.
Hey, Dragon Shield, by the way, we're still looking for a sponsor.
I've wanted so badly to make that card playable in EDH, and it is not possible.
Which card?
Battle of Wits. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your library has 200 or more cards, you win.
Because there's only one format that where you make it that big, but that card's banned in that format, if I recall.
I can imagine, because you would just run all your tutors to get it.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah.
So, moving on though.
I'd say the nice thing about this with having all these cards that can do the job of other cards is that you can easily make a budget Mogis deck or group slug deck. You can make a really good budget version.
Oh, I would say you could probably $150 to $200 make a very fun version of the deck. You could definitely go higher. You could definitely go lower and stuff, but he's not a super expensive commander. He's sitting here at $7.99 from what I'm seeing. He's a solid option. He's not intensive to get out. You're going to pretty
4 mana,
reliably
and
get him out turn 3 or 4, I would
And
say.
he's there the entire time,
Yep.
most of the time, because, again, that removal
It's
doesn't
really
really affect
difficult.
him.
Yeah. And like you have pricey cards in your deck, but at the same time, like you said, you can totally make this budget. Like Rakdos Charm is fairly,
One of my favorite
It's
cards
great.
in Magic.
Rakdos Charm. Well, we all know that.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a black and a red. Instant, choose one. Exile all creatures from target player's graveyard. Destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. And that's why you're
Down token decks.
totally shut down.
Oh, yeah. I really like to mass a token army. I should swing, but I really like everyone to know how many tokens I have. I sometimes have 200-300 Saprolines on deck, and I just sit there and pass my turn. And I feel like an idiot every time because then I get Rakdos Charmed in the face. Oh, it hurts.
Sometimes I just like to bring him down a notch.
I even remember the first time I actually saw that card. I'd
Good
never
job.
read it. And Hope cast it, and I picked it up to read it. I just, give me that card. And I just stared at it.
Where's the closest lighter?
Just stared at it and just, it hurt me. It hurt me good.
But there's so many great things in this deck, you know, and like Rampaging Ferocodon, we already mentioned this as well before. Like Menace, players can't gain life. It's 2 in a red, 3/3, and it's a dinosaur. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield, Rampaging Ferocodon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. So like it negates the Whip of Erebos, but at the same time, if you have the Whip of Erebos out, you don't play the Raging Ferocodon. Once you get rid of Whip of Erebos, fine, you throw it out, and you're still like, everyone's looking at you. It's just like, I really, really hate you right now. Cause it's like, okay, like, you guys didn't want me to gain life. Sure, alright.
Now nobody can gain life.
Yeah, nobody can gain life now. How do you like it?
Well, anything that shuts down life gain is, in some decks, deck wrecking. If someone's trying to go for an Aetherflux win, if someone's trying to even keep themselves alive from this, like, torment of anger,
Yeah.
they suddenly just don't have an ability to do it and stuff. Lots of decks use that life as a resource because they're like, well, you know what? I can get it back.
Yeah.
It's
A lot of them use the life as a weapon.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, let's face it, we're seeing this more and more in Commander now. Like, the old mentality was life was not a big deal. You can lose life. You have 40 life. Who cares, right? But now, like, we're seeing a lot of things where people are losing like very, very quickly from small damage here and there, and it adds up. So now a lot of people are starting to play life gain again.
Yeah.
So things like Rampaging Ferocodon, where it says like no more life gain, shuts down so many decks now because they rely on that. Like heck, half my decks rely on life gain now just because it's so abundant.
Yeah, same with Daniel.
Yeah, I have lots of decks. Like Firesong and Sunspeaker with a no life gain out is just a bad deck.
Yeah.
Well, Firesong and Sunspeaker is a bad deck, but it's a it's a more bad deck.
Yeah, like my Krav and Ragna deck relies a lot on life gain. You know, especially Ragna, because I need that life gain in order to make tokens. That totally shuts it down.
Well, we just put Linden together. Whenever a white creature you control attacks, gain 1 life. Linden is a bad commander if you can't gain life.
Well, even think about like all the like pure black decks or offshoots of black decks that have the Bolus Citadel in it, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna cast this card. That's 7 damage to me. Oh, and they'll take a look and just keep playing off the top of their
they're
deck.
looking for something where they can get it back. They know they've run an extort mechanic. They run X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But hitting that is rough. Exsanguinate the table and gain nothing.
Oh.
Why did I do this again?
I just got an Exsanguinate too.
Exsanguinate's so good.
But like there's so like life gain is like slowly like becoming more popular, I find, in all metas.
Yep.
So having something like that just destroys them so bad, especially when, like you said, especially for black, like, and they're fetching it because they're using things like Necropotence or Ad Nauseam or Bolus the Citadel. It just shuts them down so bad, and you're just laughing inside. You know, Mogis, God of Laughter. That's
Well, there is just some things that you cannot deal with if you cannot gain life back, and there's some decks. A friend of ours plays a Trotsani life gain deck for populating. And yeah, the whole point is to populate and gain the life. And if you can't gain that toughness, you can't gain any of that. Like I have tons of decks that are really, really shut down with that because I'm I'm willing to give up a lot of my life for these big plays. Like you said, a Bolas Citadel, it doesn't matter, pay 5 life, pay 10 life, because you know you're going to get it back. I know I run Whip of Erebos, I know I run Lifelink in those, but ooh.
Yeah, and like, that's kind of reminds me, like, there's another card in here that I like. It's called Sin Prodder. Okay, 2 in a red, devil, has menace, 3/2, and at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. Any opponent may have you put that card into your graveyard. If a player does, Sin Prodder deals damage to that player equal to that card's converted mana cost. Otherwise, put it into your hand. So it's like card draw. Okay, so like if you get a land, okay, it's not a dead draw for you anymore. Okay, because everyone's going to be like, yeah, sure, I'll pay for it. I don't care. I take 0. Ooh, okay. But that, you get past that, and then you can get to your enter spells. Or if it's a big spell, you're like, let's see. I'm like you said, Brian. By turn 4 or turn 5, you can be down to like 20 life. And if you pull something that's like even like a 5 CMC, 5 damage is a lot when you're at 20.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's a quarter of your life, and then be down to 15. It's like, okay, if I take the damage and I'm down to 15, and I still have to deal with Mogis because it's on the play. Plus you have mana bar. Plus you have like all these other things. I'll be dead by the next turn.
5 damage is a lot when you are just even at 40 life. Like if you're the first player to hit 35 life while everyone's at 40, it doesn't feel good. You're gonna bring it up.
I'm the target now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this is a great card for red for just getting extra cards to draw. Okay, like sure, people can pay for the life loss in like if you're playing some other commander, but since you're playing a group slug deck, okay, or sorry, spike hug deck, all right, this is actually a good card draw card. Okay, and it's cheap. It's like a bulk rare.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like a $9-10 card or $20 card or anything. Like, red is not good at card draw, okay? In Mogis, this card is fantastic. Because, like I said, you just get past those lands because no one cares about paying for lands. If there's a spell, everyone's like, okay, who can take the hit? I don't want to do it. Can you do it? Like, you're at 25 life. I'm at 21. Like, you should take the hit. Oh, come on. You know, and once again, that's where the politics comes out. Everyone's just like, I don't want to take the hit. Nobody wants to take the hit, but someone has to take the hit.
Yeah, someone's got to deal with it.
And it's not going to be me. It's never me. Never me. Nope. I'll be like, I don't care. I'll let them have it.
Well, before we get into some of the more specifics too, I just do want to touch on one thing. This deck also is threatening because of what it enables. This deck is going to punish people who are playing fast. So if you're sitting there and you're one of the people that are trying to get everything out real fast, suddenly getting those cards out, casting those early spells, getting that early mana in, you're going to hurt for it. But decks that don't generally get to go off against a deck like this will. Because if you're playing a dragon deck, you know, and your average CMC creature is 6, you're not sitting there dropping creatures every turn. You're not sitting there ramping all this stuff up. You likely aren't playing 2 lands a turn with explorations and stuff. You're not taking the brunt of this damage. You're in there, but you're going to be a little higher life. And 6 turns into a Mogis game is...
Then you can drop down a big boy.
You know, everyone's pretty low, and it only takes 1 or 2 big old dragon creatures like that to finally get through. Cards you might not cast in a normal game against these fast players are going to come out.
Yeah.
Well, then you always get up against those decks that they have nothing to block flyers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, I find that that is my downfall half of the time I'm playing.
It's a lot of people's downfalls.
Yeah.
Like, as a major dragon deck player, I find that that's like one of my favorite things whenever I pull out my dragons is that
Dragon alert.
nobody blocks flyers.
Yep.
Nobody has anything to deal with them.
Yeah, and if you have flyers, nobody's like Thopters or something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm
or
like,
the fairies. Yeah, 1/1. Ooh, okay, here's my 10/10.
I'll
Yeah.
give your dragon a snack.
Yeah.
Yeah, devour.
He's so hungry.
But like, what I really love about your deck, Brian, okay, is that like it hurts or like it disables, I should say, group hug decks because you're forcing them to not gain life. You're forcing people to get rid of creatures. one of my favorite cards that you have in here right now is Dampening Sphere. Okay? Because group hug decks always say like, this one land taps for like 3 mana or 4 mana. Dampening Sphere says, no. None of that, okay? So Dampening Sphere, it's a 2-cost artifact, and if a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces colorless mana instead of any other type and amount.
That card can shut Omnoth down so hard.
Yeah. It shuts a lot of things down.
Any real big ramping decks?
If someone in your play group is the devil and has Vorinclex as a commander,
Yep. So
invest now.
and that's just the first ability, okay? Like, I remember when Dampening Sphere first came out in Dominaria, everyone was going crazy because, like, in Modern, Tron decks were really big.
Yeah,
Tron
the Urza's land everything.
Yeah, and then after that, and KCI and Scape Shift, right? So that shut it down a lot for Modern. But now we're in Commander where we're like, okay, a lot of people are ramping, but a lot of people try to double the mana for the mana that they're producing for their land. So this helps a lot.
It is, before Sherman goes on, it is a 2-drop. With only the effect mentioned, it is worth including at a 2-drop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And with the second effect, it is also, if they were separate cards at 2-drops, they would both be good cards.
Yep.
But it's not an either or. What else does it do?
Well, the second thing is each spell a player casts costs 1 colorless more to cast for each other spell that players have cast this turn.
Sorry, Dragons, you're going to have to wait another turn.
This is brutal anti-storm.
Oh, it's so great against Storm.
Well, especially because it could, in theory, be a turn 1 drop.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, if you Soul Ring it out.
Yeah.
But there's lots of decks like Connor, my brother plays a lot of competitive EDH.
Yes.
And a lot of 0-drops and stuff. And suddenly, you can't
Those
drop.
drops cost
bad.
1.
You suddenly can't
That's
drop
hilarious.
Ornithopter, Mana Vault, Mana Crypt.
Oh,
Suddenly it's a real expensive turn to try and get those Mishra's Baubles out.
Well, Storm decks, like they're slowly getting more popular in Commander. I've seen a few kicking around here and there, but this one card just shuts down Storm decks. Shuts down like group hug decks for the most part.
And hard ramp, yeah.
And like a lot of hard ramp. Like there's a lot of things. This one
It
card.
It just like ruins green decks. So many
I
different
thought you were going to
Whereas-
say this card ruins Commander.
Whereas
No!
Wake or anything that allows you to add an additional mana. Oh, so looking forward to getting that other additional plane or additional forest. Oh, I guess I get a colorless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lovely card. But like that means that's so much fun. And then like we've already mentioned like for protection, like ensnaring bridge, cross space, stuff like that. Like all that stuff is really, really nice to protect you. So and that's another thing, like we didn't really touch on too much last episode. This episode we want to touch on more just because we can focus more on it. It's how to protect yourself, because like you said, Brian, people are going to target you. You tend to be the number one target. So anything to kind of make it more difficult for people to attack you helps a lot. And then so the ensnaring bridge, cross space, things like where it limits it. But what I really like is the fact that you can board wipe as well because you're in red and you're in black. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have
Tons of
blasphemous.
board
The two most angry colors in Magic.
The most angry. Like you have
Don't
earthquake.
judge me.
No, I
Blasphemous
love it.
Act.
I love
Yeah.
it. Rakdos is my life, homie.
What? I thought you were a Golgari.
Just everything annoying she likes. I don't know why she doesn't play these same decks as Brian.
Okay, so
Just
so-
complains about them.
Yeah, I'm gonna play
She's probably
Azorius
complaining
against
because they
you
weren't
now.
her idea.
Yeah. But
Bingo.
you can do so many things because even for black, you have damnation or things like that. Red, you have all these other spells that just board wipe everything constantly. If you want to go just ping everything with Pyrohemia or Pestilence, it doesn't bloody matter. You're just wiping the board constantly. So they're forced to take the 2 damage from Mogis. Unless you have the Furnace of Wrath or Thorbrand or something like that. Then it's 4 or 6 or whatever. Who cares? So you're constantly wiping the board so people can't really attack you. The only thing is like that I would worry about is really, really, really big creatures. But once again, if you have like a ensnaring bridge, who cares?
And people playing spells that target you, which in this deck, if you I have two artifact combo, which I noticed on when I was building this deck. So one piece is the Bottled Cloister, and that one at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, remove your hand from the game face down. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, return all cards removed from the game this way back to your hand. And then it pairs really well with the Null Brooch, which is if you tap 2 and tap it, you discard your hand. Not having a hand, you can target a non-creature spell.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
and
you
you-
get like a free counter.
Yeah.
You get a free counter.
And then
Nice.
and then you get your hand back when it comes to your turn.
And with colorless mana, like that's interesting.
That's so awesome. Like I never saw no brooch before, and now I'm like just thinking in my head, what can I put that in? I really, really wish you had a book in there somewhere.
It's so good in Hazoret.
Oh, I can imagine
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because you never have a hand.
Yo, you don't want a hand
Shouldn't.
anyways. So
Yeah.
yeah. The ability to just toss your hand and it's real good.
That's
And if you
awesome.
have something to untap target spell,
Yeah.
or like if it was in like a green deck and Seaborn Muse, and every turn I'm getting to untap everything, and then I'm able to just
That's nasty.
I counter one spell everyone's turn as long as I have mana.
Love it.
Well, actually, Seaborn,
You,
I'd
yeah,
always have
you
mana.
always have mana.
But that's fantastic. That is a great combo.
That's a great combo.
Yeah. So it's just like, and people will see it. It's like for politicking, that's even crazier too. Because if I'm if I'm the first person next to Brian, I'm at a higher risk than if I was going before Brian. Okay, because whatever if I was playing before Brian, then there's two other opponents that he might use to counter spell for, or the artifact to counter the spell
It's
for.
a great politicking
Yeah,
tool.
so it's
Like if
great
you're gonna be
politic.
nice to me, then I won't counter your stuff. But
But you'll have the other two opponents.
But know that I can.
yeah,
It's the same principle when someone like drops an Isochron Scepter with a counter spell on it. Okay, you always look at the positions. Like, okay, if I'm the person that plays before the counter spell, I'm laughing because there's two other opponents that might have their spells countered that if they play big things. So I know that they're either going to try to risk and play the big thing, or they're going to
to
politics
force the counter.
Yeah, to force the counter, or they're going to get someone else to do something that's really, really strong so they can play their other stuff. And I'm just going to be like, okay, you guys play the political game. I'm going to keep on saying no because I don't care. All right? Until both of them are eliminated or whatever. And then I'm in a great position because I can cast my bigger spells, not be worried about getting countered because you've already used that counter spell on them. So it's fantastic and I love it so much. And it's something that I would totally do, and I really wish I thought of it first. But
Sorry, you can't have this one.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, kudos to you. Like you're showing me another counter spell or a counter spell ability that I didn't see. So I'm loving it already.
So
Yeah.
Sherman, what's a better defense rather than chaos?
A better defense rather than chaos.
Or a better defense that is chaos with having possibility storm.
Oh, so harsh.
Oh,
Because there's nothing worse than drawing what you need
yeah.
and then having to roulette your deck and hope you get, again, the second answer. I finally have that destroy enchantment to get rid of something Brian's got out, and then
Oh, the next
Oh.
turn he played possibility storm,
Yeah.
so now I can't actually target what I want to target.
Yeah. So let's go over Possibility Storm, just so people know what it is, just in case you don't know. Possibility Storm is an enchantment, 3 red, and whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, okay? Not the first spell, second spell, third spell, just any spell, okay? Cast it from your hand, that player exiles it, then exiles cards from the top of his or her library until he or she exiles a card that shares a card type with it. That player may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then he or she puts all cards exiled with Possibility Storm on the bottom of his or her library in a random order.
That kind of nightmarish play is exactly why I love Magic the Gathering. That is hysterical.
It's fantastic. I love it. You know me, I'm always going to do the library manipulation if I can. So, but even I can't predict this stuff. Even I can't affect it. Because normally when you're manipulating the library, it's always the first 3 cards at most.
Well, and the nasty thing about that is that it's an enchantment.
Yeah, so it's even harder to remove.
Yeah. And people really struggle with enchantment removal in general and enchantment destruction. And then even having to cast your enchantment destruction.
See, that's
being able to...
That's why you try to hope for, I'll play this, brainstorm. Hopefully,
maybe.
I would love to draw 3 cards, but hopefully the next instant that I draw will be my removal card that I need.
Cast it's ooh, Cyclonic Rift. Oh.
Well, I can't kick it, or pay its overload cost, but I'll get rid of that 1 card.
For 1 turn.
For 1 turn.
1 turn. And then it's okay, now I have to hold up a counter spell, so when you drop it down.
But unless you're able to, get rid of their hand or something, then that would be alright. But there's something that's already on the field.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But
then even if you want to play the remove hand card, gotta go shuffling again until you find out the next card.
Oh,
nasty.
It's nasty, but it's fun. And it makes for fun plays. Well, not fun plays, but interesting matches. I would say.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Okay.
It is chaos.
Yeah. Well, I love chaos in games. It's the reason that I've just said before that I love Plains Jace is because I like that extra element of.
How are you not a red player?
She doesn't like red at all.
I don't like red.
You're the weirdest person ever. I love chaos, but I don't like red.
I don't
like dragons.
Okay, well that's not the same. It's 5 colors.
She likes multicolored dragons.
Yeah. I play 5 color dragons. Get out of here. But no, I just don't like a lot of I don't know. I don't know why I don't like playing mono red or it's just not my jam.
What if I made you a mono red deck that's just really, really silly and janky and fun and...
I would play it.
To be polite.
But I probably wouldn't go for it, which is interesting. Because if you hand me a deck that I've never played and I don't know anything that's in it, I'll just play it. I won't even look at the deck.
Doesn't even look through.
I won't even look through it. I'll just play it.
I have a great monocolor red deck.
Oh, yeah, play it.
With Squee.
Homie, I'll
called
play it.
One Man Army, and it's just Squee.
I'll play it. I'll play it.
You've made the sale.
Yeah, talking. But I'll probably win with it. But
you still don't care much about red.
It's just funny. I don't know why. I like the elements, but I don't necessarily like being the one in charge of it. You know? And I think that's it. I like watching the chaos from a distance.
Yeah, like Brian playing.
Yeah, I like seeing Brian do it, and I like to kill Brian when I need him gone. But I think it's
love you
fun.
too, Hope.
Yeah, cool. But I think it's fun. I like the randomness of Possibility Storm. I like that kind of I like the level of chaos, but I don't want necessarily to be the one orchestrating it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think so.
I just think Possibility Storm is hilarious.
Those could be 2 things.
Especially when people have X costing spells.
Yeah.
And I just laugh inside when I see them flip it. And
I laugh
just
outside.
Yeah. It's oh look, Tormenta Hellfire for 0.
Man, that's crazy.
Well, it is just the worst to hit something that's junk. Yeah. You sit there and you try cast something big, Hope's trying to drop a dragon and gets a Llanowar Elf with it. Oh.
Yeah. But at the same time, you have the opposite sometimes. I'll cast that stupid Birds of Paradise and I'll flip. Oh, look, I have I don't know, a Pronian Hulk. Okay, fine, I'll sacrifice it and get 3 other cards, So you can have the opposite. That's hence why it's a Possibility Storm. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, it feels bad though to use 6 mana to get 1 back.
Yeah, it hurts. It physically hurts.
Or someone casts something for like 10 mana and you get something that's like, a cost of 0. It's like, wow, that was pointless.
Overall, the deck has just a ton of enchantments. I would say that enchantments make the deck go off.
Oh, yeah.
This one, it seems like it's the most. We run 22 enchantments in the deck.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them, and we'll just go through a few of them right now, and let them know kind of what's in them, Brian. And
well, like,
there's Brian.
22.
Well, that's what was going on last night. You were Brian, I was Brian, we're all Brians.
Yeah,
Brian with a D.
Really fun. Yeah, Brian with a D for Daniel.
So we have Aether Flash. And whenever a creature comes into play, Aether Flash deals 2 damage to it. So any like white weenie deck or anything like that brings in elves is just getting shocked, and they're like, oh.
Tokens.
Yeah, it just
any of the general recursion that you'd go to win with, like anyone who tries to do like Machias the Unhallowed and Walking Ballista play. Not up in here.
Not up in here.
Nope.
And then we have Blood Chief Ascension, which pairs really nicely with Mindcrank. It's at the beginning of each end step. If an opponent was dealt damage or 2 damage, to put a counter on it. And then as long as there's 3 or more counters on Blood Chief Ascension, whenever a card is put into a graveyard, they lose 2 life. I gain 2 life.
And that's a 1-drop.
Yep.
Yeah.
So opening hand, get that down.
Yeah.
Third turn, or depending upon what else I have out, second turn I can have Mogis.
That's so brutal.
And then the 2 damage starts, and it's just a ticker.
Just like that, yeah.
And then as soon as I get the other cards out, it's okay. You discard that card, take 2 damage, I gain 2 life.
Yeah, it's a nasty boy.
Yeah, and then whenever a player taps, we have Burning Earth here. Whenever a player taps a non-basic land for mana, Burning Earth deals 1 damage to that player. We're playing Commander.
Eat that, you fancy dual land.
Yeah. We're playing Commander almost any, I think out of all the Commander games that I've played, there's only been about 4 or 5 games where it's been a solid color.
Oh, well, this also bangs you as soon as you try to do anything. So any of your shock lands are going to hurt way more. Any of your guild gates are going to hurt. Ugh.
I find it hilarious because he has that in there. Plus he has mana barbs that for all lands, it doesn't matter if it's basic or non-basic. You tap it for mana, it deals 1 damage. And you have this stupid card, Citadel of Pain.
Enjoy.
Okay, 2 in a red enchantment, because we're going through enchantments. At the end of each player's turn, Citadel of Pain deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of untapped lands he or she controls.
Yeah, so you're hurt for tapping your lands, you're hurt for holding onto your lands. It doesn't matter what you do. You're getting pinged.
Blue player's ready to counter stuff.
Brian's raising the blood pressure of every blue player in this group.
It's just no matter what, it's okay, if stuff like this against Lord Winggrace is just crazy because they have so many lands out constantly, right? It's normally they'll have 5
3 turns in, they're dead. They've done nothing.
Lands matter and lands really hurt.
Yeah. It's I don't care if you have 12 plant tokens, each one that's 2 3s or 3 4s, whatever. You're still gonna take 12 damage every turn that comes up.
Yeah.
And then if you have the cross space or ensnaring bridge, you're set. It's hilarious.
Well, yeah, you also just Aether Flash every one of those plant tokens when they come in anyways.
Yeah. And then there's this one. I love this one too. I can't believe you threw this in, Brian. So, it's Everlasting Torment. 2 and a hybrid black-red for an enchantment. Players can't gain life. So once again, no life gain. Okay? Damage cannot be prevented, which is something that I love. I love that.
Basically, go fog yourself.
Yeah, so even if someone has to wander out, it's sorry, it says nothing can take damage, but then
can't beat canon magic.
Yeah. So and then all damage is dealt as though its source had wither.
Ooh.
That part I just love, especially when you're playing the earthquakes, the blasphemous axe, and everything. It just gets rid of things that are indestructible, and that's what I love about this.
Mm-hmm. So another way around it.
Well, your deck does really well against things that have indestructible, because they're either sacrificing it or you're forcing the damage through where they're getting the -1/-1 counters. It's just crazy. It's okay, you have the Avacyn out, everything's indestructible, don't care.
When she comes into play, she's dealt 2 damage.
And
Dude.
then-
You know, she's a 6/6.
yeah. Well, yeah. And
It sounds
even
like a personal attack.
with that,
I ran through
Aether
2.
Flash
don't
out. With Aether Flash out, you are instantly making everything -2/-2. Anything that's not instantly dying is just weaker.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with Grave Betrayal. Okay? 5 black, and whenever a creature you don't control dies, return to the battlefield under your control with an additional +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. That's just, with Mogis, it's like, okay, I'll sacrifice this creature.
I'll
okay.
take that.
Yeah, you'll take it.
It's like, thank you.
Yeah, check please.
Yeah.
I'm done here. Who else is up for a game commander? Anyone? I am done at this table. There's no more playing here. I am through. Because like I think I've seen like a couple people do that when you're playing this deck. Actually,
What,
yeah, a
find
lot
a
of
new
people.
group?
No,
Yeah.
a lot of people are just like, okay, I'm gonna go over there.
Aww.
but it's,
Brian.
but this combination works so well, you know, because like it synergizes very, very well with all the other cards. And like I love your Mogis deck for the like another reason why I love your Mogis deck is because it synergizes very well. I'm a very combo synergistic guy when it comes to building decks.
Sherman likes to think it through.
I do. We all know I'm a
But
really
this
big
deck
geek.
feels very like well thought out.
It is. It's very well thought out. So I don't know who he learned it from. He didn't learn this stuff from me.
Well, I haven't been playing since middle school, so I do have some experience.
Yeah. So, but like I want to touch on at least one more card.
One of my faves.
Okay.
Why don't you take it away, Hope, then?
No. Go ahead. I can't see from here.
Okay. Captive Audience. 5 black
Captivated
red.
yet.
I am captivated.
Yep.
I'm enthralled.
Captive Audience enters the battlefield under the control of an opponent of your choice. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose one that has not been chosen. Your life total becomes 4.
We clearly throw that on
which
the
honestly,
the game.
Mogis is an instant kill.
Yeah.
Whoever's gaining all that life, you're now at 4.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Discard your hand,
Not too bad.
or each opponent creates 5 2/2 black zombie creature tokens.
I'll take 2/2 zombies, please.
Well, yeah, the obvious choice for most people is I'll give them the zombies,
Then
Then
I'll
I'll
discard
discard
my
my
hand.
and then I'll go to
and
4.
then I'll go to 4 life.
And then die
Yeah.
from Mogis.
Yeah.
I'll play this
Or
land,
from
take 2
the
damage.
zombies.
Yeah. But that's the thing, if you give each other opponent 2/2 zombies, like they're gonna try attacking the person that the Mogis player, right? Unless like the person that goes down to 4 life and is just like, okay, I'm a big threat, then whatever.
But again, that comes into the politics of it and stuff.
Yeah.
You can stop something. Let's say I'm playing Niv Mizzet and we don't want my hand. Which one am I going to take? Am I going to lose all my life? Am I going to discard my 25 cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're making it difficult for them to gain life because you have things that says you cannot gain life.
Yeah. So if you drop them down to 4, that's usually it. Like that's just what it is.
The Life of Brian, all here. It's one deck.
This is the dark film.
Yeah. Dark humor at its best.
Let's have me spit my coffee out.
But this, I love this deck so much. It's so much fun.
It has a lot of things that punish. There's another enchantment in the deck, Uphill Battle. Creatures your opponents play come into play tapped. That is really, really difficult to deal with if you're a haste deck. If you're trying to play something really aggro, if you have that, you have the win. You can kill them, but you can't.
Not
tapped.
this turn.
One more turn.
Yeah. So we're running
And
out
if
of
you
time
can
here,
make
but
if you can make it one more turn.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
we're running out of time here. I really, really wish we could talk more about this. There's just so many things we can talk about. But my suggestion is that anyone out there that listens to this deck and if you find it interesting, try building it yourself. Who cares if you're the first one out? This deck is hilarious. It's fun. You don't, if you're not playing to win, it's not a big deal because all you're doing is watching people cringe and you're laughing and they're like, I hate you, but not in like a malicious way, in like, oh, I'm going to get you next time. Ha ha ha. We're still friends, right? You know, kind of way.
It's definitely going to add a different dynamic to your meta. So.
Oh, for
Especially
sure.
if your games go like for a long time, all the time. You
Yeah.
gotta stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's add some chaos to that.
Yeah,
'Cause,
stir
like-
the pot with a shovel.
Oh, goodness. Because, like, yeah, like, we know Commander, the Commander games tend to be a little bit longer, like an hour, hour and a half at times, or 45 minutes, whatever. But, like, I don't like those really long games, because people start, like, they're not paying attention, they're, like,
Well, yeah, on their people are, phones. Yeah, because they know that it's going to be, 5-6 minutes till they do it. I've had people get up and walk away. Oh, I'm just going to go get a drink. Tell me what happens. And I'm like, well, we're playing a game, man. What are you talking about?
I need to go get my snacks at some time, Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm bad for that.
Yeah.
Same here.
We've all done it before. We'll admit it. But, like, things
you
like
take
this.
2 damage.
Yeah. Well, playing decks like this, well, where the games will last like 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
it's just so much fun. Cause it also helps like enter people. Like when Brian was first playing this deck, in our group and everything, it forced me to evaluate my decks so that they're faster.
Exactly.
So I can learn to deal with this.
Well, it's
crap.
like I said last on our group episode, was that when somebody's playing decks like this, it forces you to look at your decks in a way that you might not have before and play things differently, because the creatures, the lands, everything that you might have played in the past now are going to be detrimental to you. So you need to look at how you're playing under a very different light.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, like you said, before, both you, Hope, and Brian, it's, you're stirring up the pot. You're forcing the play group to think differently. Like, you're changing up the meta, you're changing up the play styles, you're changing up the deck. So people, like, start to think a little bit more outside of the box, a little bit more outside of their comfort zone.
Totally.
So if they're, like, always playing, blue-green constantly, because those are their colors, and then you drop this down, it's like, well, I'm mainly creatures, and I have to always sacrifice creatures, and I always have to do all these things. I'm going to try playing a different deck where I don't have
I'm going to play
to-
black.
Yeah. I'm down for black. I like black.
Me
I'm
too.
I'm not going to play green. Still not going to play green.
Not yet.
I'm
Not
going to
yet.
get you a nice mono green deck. You get me a nice mono red.
I have a mono green deck. That is my Song Tribal deck. That is the only green deck I will have. I'll mix it with other colors, but that is the only mono green deck I have, and I will call it that.
I'll get you a nice elf deck. How does that sound?
30 Days of Magic. Sherman, what's your most hated card?
Forest.
No, we were joking about that. That literally was my very first comment. Because we're like messaging each other and they're like, Sherman, you should take this one. What's your most hated card? I'm like, Forest. They're like, we can't do that. Fine. My second one, Stony Silence, because I love my artifacts.
Stony Silence is rough.
See, I'm not the only one.
It is rough.
I'm not the only one. I like my artifacts. I'm sorry. Like, if Stony Silence said you can't activate abilities unless they're mana abilities, okay. It's not
I
like
agree.
that.
I could see that a little bit.
Yeah, but the
No.
fact that it shuts down all artifact abilities just really, really annoys me. So, but luckily I do play white from time to time, so I can deal with that. So, what? If I don't play green, what else am I going to use to destroy enchantments? That's white. That's why I gotta learn to love white.
Not many blue destroy enchantment cards.
No, just bounce,
Yeah, you
bounce,
can bounce that and then counter it.
I like bouncing things. I like using boomerang and stuff like that. So, but once again, we go off on tangents. You guys know us. So we're gonna call it that. Because I think
Well,
we
even
are running out of time.
before we go there, I just kind of want to have Brian just talk a little bit about what's an ideal hand. Like, let's
that's a good idea.
Yeah, what is a great hand to open the game with? Like, what would you sit there with a big smile on your face for?
So for me, the perfect hand that just like lights me up when I draw it, it's almost like a shot of whiskey. I see.
We're not promoting
I see
drinking here.
I at least would want one of each color mana.
Okay.
So I would gladly start with a 2-land hand. My Soul Ring, or at least Zozu or Zuzu. Can't remember.
Zozu's
Zozu's
yeah.
a Punisher,
And
yeah.
then,
Yeah,
or the Anka Mishra, or something along those lines that I can at least get it out turn 1, turn 2, and at least start the damage gradually. And then, as I'm going through finding the Harsh Mentor or some of the other creatures and pieces that just sit there, along with, I guess, more mana, because a lot of it is expensive. Usually most stuff's 5 cost.
Mhm.
But if I can at least start off with like that kind of combo where I can turn 1 land, Soul Ring, Anka Mishra, or turn 2
Such a jerk.
Zozu. Yeah. At least
Such a
I can start
jerk.
doing that. Because even if I have 2 of each mana in my Soul Ring, turn 3, I'm dropping Mogis. So like I'm already getting stuff out there and started going.
Yeah, like it sets you up for a successful game. Or at least a potentially successful game.
Yeah, like you need at least like 3 mana if you don't have anything that's really quick to drop.
Yeah. I've seen you do that way too many times. Turn 1 Soul Ring, tap Anka Mishra. I'm like, Brian, we just started. I haven't even drawn mine for my first turn.
Yep, and it's great.
Yeah, so basically you kind of are looking for anything land rampy and anything that is going to get some
Start that
early
damage,
damage on the
yeah.
board.
So essentially, start getting some punches in before they start swinging back.
Yeah, and you want to, like we said, you want to get Mogis out pretty quick in this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the worst I've ever seen you do this was turn 1, land, Soul Ring, Mind Crank, turn 2, Mogis. And I'm just like, I hate you so much right now. I love your deck and I love you, Brian, but I really, 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 really hate this play right now.
Yeah, because Mogis starts those tokens on there.
Yeah, and then you're discarding things for the
Yeah.
Mind Crank. It's just like, well, there goes that. I didn't need that 1 card. I don't need that land, even though I kept the 2 land hand. Damn.
Like it's really nice because it turns it into mill. In all honesty, it's like
You
a
and your
part
mill,
mill,
man.
part damage. Like it's just all over the board. It's great. Like there's just so much you could do with this deck.
Oh, there's so many ways to win, and I love that. I love the fact that you have like multiple win conditions. I always love it when people do that, because the moment like someone only had 1 win condition and you eliminate it, they just sit there and they're like just like
Super sour.
super sour.
Well,
Passive
we have
aggressive.
another minute or two. What is your favorite win condition in the deck? Like, what's the best way to end the game out, in your opinion?
Like
Short
I
of
do
everyone
have
picking
that.
up.
I do have that infinite mana, or not infinite mana, that infinite damage combo
with
Blood Chief Mindcrank?
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not, you guys all know me, I'm not one for one of those infinite
No.
combo things. So even if I do draw, I'd be like, sweet, I won the game, but let's just keep playing.
Yeah.
I typically just like to try to almost pillow fort myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like be able to play all my stuff, have my my ensnaring bridge out, and kind of just sit back and let my enchantments do everything.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna play this deck, you have to have a really sly tongue. Like you really got to have that politic down and kind of just know when to point people in an opposite direction, and or have something be like, I could really kill your stuff, but I know you really like it, so
Yeah.
he's the problem.
Don't point at me.
Brian
Point
with
at
the
someone
D.
else. Brian with the D.
Brian with the D is the problem.
Always.
And Brian with the D is Daniel.
Yeah, that's one of the people we're playing with. That's what he kept saying. He just kept calling me Brian all night. He's like, I know your name is Daniel. I have your number in my phone. and then he embraced it and started just saying, yeah, Brian with the D.
But it still caught me off guard. I'm like, why are you attacking me? I thought we just made a deal. He's like, no, I'm attacking Daniel. I was like, oh, okay,
Not,
got you.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
not
Brian.
Yeah, I'm attacking Brian.
To Brian.
Brian. Are you French?
Oh, hello, my name is Brian.
My name is Brian.
Uh-huh. Oh no, now all the people that speak French or whatever are gonna kill us.
No.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Why you call me this?
Get out of here.
We know some French. We're in Canada. It was mandatory to learn a little bit of it.
I came from the bilingual province. I do not speak a lick of it.
I'm speaking up for both of us.
Okay, sounds good.
I speak a little just because I did enjoy French, but then they screwed up the program when I was in junior high. So it pissed me off.
Do you know what my aunt would say?
What?
Excuses.
Oh.
Your aunt would probably say bies. French was actually my first language. Most people don't know that.
Nope. You don't even have that accent or anything.
Nope.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know your brother is saying that they went to, where did they study? In France for a bit? Or no, they just studied in Quebec.
Yeah, no, like my whole family, like, is all speaks French. My mom's from the East as well, so that whole half of the family actually speaks the other language.
Best side of the country.
I used to fluently speak the language.
She never did. She
Yes,
lied.
I did.
That was a dream.
Daniel didn't
Broken
know me then.
Fringlish.
No, I went to French immersion for like 6 years and like I spoke French. Like,
But anyways,
That's cool.
we're off topic. Thank you guys so
this is a
much.
Magic the Gathering podcast.
Thank you guys so much. I'm not going to keep saying this in French, but thank you so much. Let us know what you think of the deck. We are going to post the deck list in the show notes. Maybe if you have any edits or changes, let us know. Let us know what you would build in a Mogis and how would you like to end everyone's suffering.
They're gonna end your suffering because they're gonna attack you first.
And if you guys enjoy the content, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram to enjoy everything that we post.
Yeah, and also we are available on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, basically anywhere you get your podcast, Google Play. So feel free to subscribe. You'll never miss an episode. And thank you again for listening.
Bye, guys.
Catch you later!
See ya.